This video is part of the course that is GraphQL with Spring Boot. Link for this course is given in the description. Hello and welcome back. In this course, you are going to learn GraphQL with Spring Boot. So let's first have simple REST API with Spring Boot so that you have better idea when to go for REST APIs with Spring Boot and when you need to go for GraphQL with Spring Boot. If you have any REST API simple application ready, then you can easily compare and contrast with GraphQL. Here, Spring Boot will remain the same. So this is I'm having one simple Spring Boot application, you can say REST APIs, and that is Student Management Service. So this application is having REST APIs with Spring Boot using GPA, and I have used a MySQL database. So this is very simple Spring Boot application. Let me give you the overview quickly. So here we have three tables. One is student table, one is subject, and one is address table. And we have three entity class for these three tables. So student table is having one-to-one mapping with address. That means one student is having one address and one student is learning more than one subject. So student to subject table is one-to-many relationship. So this is I have done with Spring Data GPA. So we have total three tables: student, address, and subject. And we have one controller over here, student controller, and we have couple of APIs. So let's go one by one. The one is getting all the students, so get all. Another one is just getting the first name of student by providing the student ID. In the same way, we have another API getting the last name of student by providing the student ID. And we have one more API, that is to create the student. So as of now, we have these APIs. If needed to compare with GraphQL with Spring Boot, we will add more APIs if needed. So these are the APIs we have in our Spring Boot application using REST APIs, and we will see how to do the same thing in GraphQL with Spring Boot. One thing you need to remember is that Spring Data GPA having the repositories, entity classes, making the connection using Spring Data GPA to any database, say for example MySQL, all things will remain same. The only difference between REST API and GraphQL is that how you will hit your APIs and how you populate the response to the consumers. The other things like using the Spring Data GPA, having the entity classes, having the repositories, and having the connection using Spring Data GPA to any SQL database, say for example MySQL, all things will remain same. So from our service layer to repository and all calls to database, that thing will remain same. In GraphQL, we don't have controller kind of thing. We have query and mutation, right? We have already seen query to get the data and mutation to alter any data, that is create, update, or delete the data. As we proceed further in the course, you will understand all these things, and it will also clear that what is the difference between REST APIs and GraphQL. Once you have both the applications ready, you can easily compare. So here we have repositories for three entity classes. We have request model classes, and we have response model classes, and one service, that is student service.java. And in our application.properties file, we have our properties to connect to MySQL database. Here you can choose any database. I'm using MySQL, it's up to you. And in the form.xml, we have required dependencies for Spring Boot, Spring Data GPA, and MySQL. So this is very basic REST APIs with Spring Boot. You can say student management service. This code you will get along with this lecture. So just check out the code in your local and see what is being done. It is very simple student management service with just one student controller and one service layer with three tables: student, subject, and address. If you like the video, then please subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell, like the video, do comment in the comment section, and share with your friends. Do you want to learn GraphQL? If yes, then I'm having complete course on it, that is GraphQL with Spring Boot. This course covers what is GraphQL, what is GraphQL query, mutation, schema, and the difference between GraphQL API and REST API. This course also covers the real-time implementation of GraphQL with Spring Boot. This course also includes how to use Project Lombok with Spring Boot application. So, what are you waiting for? The course link is given in the description. Just click on that link and start your journey of GraphQL with Spring Boot. We'll see you in the another video. Till then, Happy learning and happy coding!